Hey, everybody, this is Chuck from Turnkey Technologies. Welcome to this podcast episode. I am so psyched. I have with me Tiffany Allen from KwikTag today, and we are going to be talking about something that's very, very cool, something that everybody has issues with, and that is invoice processing and approval. And it's their product, SimplyAP. So, hi, Tiffany. How you doing?
Hey, Chuck. I am super excited to be here. Thanks for having me on
Oh,
today.
I believe me, the pleasure is all mine. I'm so wound up. I love doing this. I love geeking out over things that help people to get faster. It's the industrial engineer in me. What can I say? I like people to be effective, efficient, and satisfied with what they do. So,
Sounds
thank you.
like me. I'm a bit of a tech dork, all hopped up on efficiency. So,
Yeah, well, we must be tech dorks because here we are in the dark on East Coast time here, the day before Thanksgiving when this is recorded, right? And here we are doing this. And so, we're committed, or we should be, one of the
totally
two.
committed and
Yeah.
also committed to turkey after.
Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh, yes, absolutely. Excellent, excellent. So, what is it that people are trying to accomplish? What are they going to feel at the end of, implementing Simply AP?
I love it. And probably my favorite part of Simply AP is that first word simple. Most people think of AP automation, invoice automation, and think, wow, am I ready for that project? Can I take that on? Do I
Hmm.
have the bandwidth and do I have the money?
Hmm.
And Simply AP truly is a game changer in the space for BC.
Hmm.
So, our product has been infrastructured in the cloud to support BC Online.
Hmm.
And it really is a game changer. It's super easy to solution
Hmm.
and it's bringing forward such, innovative technology that we're also able to drive the cost down to ensure it's truly affordable for all.
Hmm.
So get up and running in days and really create the efficiencies that you thought maybe your company could not afford.
So, just for context of everyone in the audience, okay, Turnkey Technologies, we are a Microsoft Dynamics full service ERP consultant and provider. And BC, to which Tiffany is referring, is Business Central. Okay, that is, there's two classes of product: Microsoft Business Central, Microsoft Finance and Operations, and BC is really focused toward small, medium operation sizes. Okay, of all different types, and so what does it look like now for people before Simply AP? What are they doing? What are they living now?
Love it. And, Chuck, I've been in this world for over 15 years, and I've truly been selling automation software all 15 years in the Microsoft Dynamics space.
Hmm.
And the times have changed and evolved dramatically. Technology is absolutely our friend, and it's one that we truly need to embrace. When I first got started here, OCR, optical character recognition, haha, you're laughing, as you should. That literally was only for a mega organization, right,
Sure.
that had hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on that solution. Artificial intelligence obviously allows now that OCR element to come out of the box and solutions, and that's just in the last 5 years. But what's also continuing to happen is you also have the ability to ease to solution and get up and running in hours versus weeks and months of
Hmm.
project management. So we're leveraging that technology, the ability to extract that data, leverage machine learning based on that integration back to BC to ensure that you are creating efficiencies, streamlining the process for the AP team that's doing very redundant, time consuming, but pretty simple tasks once you actually lay it all down.
Hmm. Yeah. So they're sitting right now. They're taking invoices that come in, and they are transcribing data, right? And into their system so that they have this accurate picture. They can, not only do they have record for their financial records, but then they will also go, potentially through an approval process. Okay. Because, you don't want anybody having the ability to approve an invoice for payment. God knows what
Right.
they could slip in there, right? So, uh,
Governance, super
governance, look
important.
at you. Oh, very fancy, very fancy. So you talk about OCR. So how does OCR play into it?
So we're leveraging artificial intelligence to extract that data. OCR, old school OCR was zonal. So
Hmm.
here's an invoice, right? Logos in up here, invoice amounts down here. You had to teach the system where to find those data elements. So onboarding an AP automation solution was extremely time consuming because you had to say, hey, vendor A works like this, B, C, D, and on down the line. Time
Hmm.
consuming,
Hmm.
extremely.
Hmm.
Not the way that it works now. We leverage an artificial intelligence that reads the invoice like a human eye would. It looks for every iteration of invoice number. That could be INV hashtag, that could be INV NO, that could be INV NUM. Any iteration of that, it's finding and it's learning that behavior. It's basically kind of making a fingerprint on that vendor invoice and say, hey, I saw vendor invoice A last week, last month, and this is where all the data was. The system is learning that behind the scenes. We're not putting that onus on an AP clerk or an AP manager to create a template by
Hmm.
any means.
That's amazing. I mean, that's truly amazing. It's you think about it, right? It just scan it, right? But all that did was that just created an electronic record. It basically took a picture.
Correct.
Okay, and the zonal processing, well, that's clearly a waste of time because everybody's invoice is going to be different. Yes, in general, they may be formatted similar. You might have the address block up here. You might have the address block up here. You have the invoice somewhere, maybe up here in the header, but maybe it's down here. So that just clearly isn't going to work based on the inputs, so this is an amazing. I mean, just an amazing evolution, and I think that's kind of the cool part. So that prior okay, or prior to the availability of cloud resources, in order for someone to have to do this, they would have to have this incredible. First of all, the AI algorithms and machine learning didn't even exist. Okay, but
Correct.
if you did,
Correct.
the processing that you would need to have in house, the cost that you would need to have for IT to maintain that server load, okay, development, troubleshooting, all the availability, all the different stuff would be just massive. Okay, so
Absolutely.
and a lot of companies, there's very small companies that they're tiptoeing these forays into the cloud and they're saying, okay, I'm pretty uncomfortable with that. Boy, I've always had this control. I can think of a guy I used to work for. Hmm. Um, and
I'm glad
the,
it's used to.
well, it is what it is. We all evolve in our career. And now the cloud enables that, right? Because now we can start to call services literally from around the globe. Okay. We can bring in resources literally from around the globe with folks that are just unbelievable experts in this kind of processing, and it's available to small businesses for the first time. Really, I mean, when
Oh,
we say the first time, this is a relatively short period of time, measured in years, clearly, but certainly not decades.
oh,
This
oh,
is all
so
new.
true. Not decades. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I also think the other piece that Simply AP does really well is the fact that there are obviously, this space is cluttered, Chuck. There are many AP automation solutions out there, but there are not a lot that are integrated into the ERP.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, great. Yeah,
Hmm.
we can pull in invoices, but here's the piece, we're seamlessly integrated to BC. So, as we extract that data and we confirm who the vendor is, we pull in a purchase order, we're bumping that up against BC. We're retrieving all the details of that purchase order that's already been created in BC, that a
Hmm.
receipt's been there.
Hmm.
We're validating vendor information. So not only, do you get the benefits of artificial intelligence and machine learning with that data extraction, but the integration to BC ensures that we're doing the checks and balances for you versus the AP clerk
Hmm.
or your AP management team.
Hmm.
We're doing that behind the scenes. We're alerting you if we see something that's gone awry.
Hmm. Well, that's why this is of so much interest to me. Turnkey technology. We are an ERP consultant, and we provide these systems turnkey, soup to nuts. But if all you're doing is piling, a ton of money into a big expensive calculator without improving your process and improving getting this increased return on investment, then why did you even do it in the first place? And that's what's so fascinating to me is that we're really talking about. It's not just that now I have it available to everyone. It's not just that, this person and this person and this person can use a common set of data. It's not just that I can do it at this desk and this desk and this desk. Now we're using these technologies for our clients, okay, with the ERP system to truly change their processes, to truly change the output versus the inputs they have. I don't like to say more with less. I like to say more with the same, right? It's let's
Or
take the
more.
yeah, well, right. Let's take the resources that we have. Let's have them do more ability and value added with the resources we have, so that in that new time that they have available, they can start to do new and amazing different things, right? And that's why I love ERP so much, and that's what's so fascinating about a solution about yours, because it really just takes that time away and lets them repurpose that time as new value, which hopefully will end up reducing cost and or even better helping their customers in the end, right? So that we can do newer and greater things. So just, can you tell I'm a geek on this stuff? I mean, wait till you see the demo at the end. I mean, that's what this is, so this isn't just two people talking, right? Okay, there's a demo at the end, so stay tuned to the end, folks. You're going to love it, and see what,
I agree.
Simply AP and we can do for you. So, okay. So, um, it's about inefficiencies, okay?
Mhm.
But we're really talking about SMBs. We're talking about BC, and that's, and oftentimes, this is big, big stuff. They feel like it's out of it's outside our reach.
Out of reach.
Is it outside their reach?
I unfortunately, I think that's part of you and I's job for sure, Chuck, is highlighting that it's not out of reach. Because I think so many organizations believe that to be the case. And this product is truly built to support the SMB space.
Hmm.
It's been built specifically for BC Online. And what we need to do and realize is that you can be processing 100 invoices per month, and we have an affordable cloud solution for you, fully integrated into BC. And I'm telling you, I've been here 15 years ago. If you would have told me even 5 years ago you had 100 invoices that you process per month, I would have said, best of luck to you. And bye. I didn't, there was no justification for it, right? There
Hmm.
was no ROI at that volume. That's no longer the case. I think so often smaller organizations don't believe that they can get to that efficient level. They feel like they're behind the times as it relates to technology.
Hmm.
And that's what's exciting about Simply AP and BC Online,
Hmm.
right? It's really changing the way in which organizations can streamline their business and grow their business. And us ensuring that it's affordable. All of our entire product is based on just invoice volume. I don't care if you have 5 people that need to review and approve invoices or you have 500. All of them are going to have access, and there's
Hmm.
not one differential in that price. We really need to ensure that there is efficiencies built on top of technology for
Hmm.
the SMB space for BC Online.
Well, that's an incredible value pricing scheme. I mean, truly, it
Yeah.
and there's, I mean, no minimum. I mean, what's the
Nope.
minimum? There's
No
no
minimum.
minimum.
No minimum. No minimum users. No minimum amount of invoices either.
I mean, honestly, Tiffany, it's revolutionary. Nobody talks like that out in this space.
Why do you think I'm so happy to be on here today? I'm telling you right now, I think that's the biggest onus on our organization and partners such as yourselves is really educating this SMB space. There are truly affordable, efficient solutions, all tech driven for them, readily available at their fingertips. Stop thinking. AI and artificial intelligence and machine learning. I can't afford that.
Hmm.
Talk to us. Call
Hmm.
your turn. Call your turnkey rep. Start the conversation.
Hmm. Yeah, that, and it's when you're starting to look and when you're doing your solutioning and your requirements gathering. Okay, when you consider this and you have to justify it to the decision makers within your organization, you can literally say, okay, I'm using a product like this to take this many hours anticipated out of the workday per week, per month, per year. Well, that certainly makes your decision making a whole lot easier, doesn't it? It really just, the time to value is just like lightning speed, you know.
Oh, it is. It's unreal, right? We're talking about approving invoices in seconds because we do have straight through processing.
Mhm.
And again, that's kind of like 5 years ago, artificial intelligence and OCR and data extraction. Can I forward that? That was the buzzword in AP automation. That's not the case going forward. Our technology is leapfrogging forward, saying, "Hey, we've got a purchase order that was approved in BC, and we got an invoice that came in. We
Mhm.
extracted that data, they match, shoot it into BC immediately. Why does AP need to touch it if it's a match?"
Mhm.
Now, we get creative, of course, fun and configurable. Is it within a 2% variance of the purchase order, or not to exceed $100, then we'll push it through.
Hmm.
But if not, we're going to drop it into AP's queue. Let's route it for review and approval. Why is there a variance? Let's look at that. So truly, the innovation in this space, unreal for that SMB customer, 100%.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, just awesome. Well, we can sit here and talk about this all day long, but the good news is you prepared some visuals for the audience here, so we can
Heck
step
yeah.
through some things, right? So, um, let's take a look at our first one here. So you
Awesome.
mentioned straight through purchase and invoice processing several times here. Okay, can you walk us through that?
100%. So, what you see here is just truly the progression of an invoice, the incoming invoice to when it actually gets created in the ERP in BC. So, as we go left to right, what it's highlighting is simply, we're going to ingest invoices for you. Likely they're going to come in by email, or you can upload them absolutely into the application. Email, easiest way, right? We monitor an email address, we bring those invoices in, and we immediately extract the data from them.
Hmm.
So as the AI is reading that invoice, much like I mentioned before, the power here is that integration to BC. We're going to go look for the purchase order in BC. We're going to retrieve the information from that PO, any receipts that have been completed. We're going to validate that it is an approved vendor, is set up in BC already.
Hmm.
And as we look at it, think about it, just think about a purchase order invoice, for example, right now. So PO invoice comes in and we see that it's a match. There's actually the configuration tool that, as you go through the setup, that's going to say, hey, do you want to do straight through processing? Meaning, if we find a match and it's within a 2%, a 3%, a 5% variance of the purchase order, and it's under X amount, right? So if we put in a 2% variance, but it's a giant invoice and that's
Hmm.
a $2,000 difference, you may not want to approve that. So we'll say, hey, you put in the percent, but not to exceed X dollar amount. We can flow that straight through into BC. AP never has to touch it. Now, keep in mind, we're going to date and timestamp the heck out of it. There's going to be a whole audit trail in there
Hmm.
that the data, the invoice was brought in, the data was extracted. We found that it was a match. So we integrated it to BC.
Hmm.
If it's not a match, right? Or it's a non PO invoice, it's going to come into a queue, super filters that they can, navigate what they want to work on by vendor, by due date, by amount, and they can route it for review and approval. And the workflow is fully configurable, right? It can be based on dollar amount. You can have an X number of approvals. And remember, unlimited number of approvers. So if you've got an invoice that's your max dollar amount and you need a manager, a VP, and then your CFO and your CEO to approve it, no problem, we're going to fire those all off for you behind the scenes.
Hmm.
But the straight through processing, Chuck, the key element there is, again, artificial intelligence and data extraction. OCR was that absolute buzzword going forward. Think about the fact that if we're going to extract that data, why the heck would we not try and remove extra fingers, extra steps in the process? If it's a
Hmm.
match, push it on through.
Hmm. Absolutely. And remove the extra fingers, remove the extra steps. Now they can do something of greater value that hopefully helps the customer. And that's
So
really what
true.
it's always about, right? We always apply it always about the benefit actually not only to your company but also to your customer. And that's
So
what
true.
it's yeah, yeah. Okay. So, um, you know, so we talked about, the fact that it is approachable. Okay, that it is suitable for SMBs. Is it hard to get started?
Um, no, definitely not. So as we entered, we've been in the AP automation space for 20 years here at QuikTag, but as we entered the BC market, we realized we needed to look at, the buying habits of the future. And honestly, the way people are interacting and purchasing things is very different now than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And we do have a self-directed option that allows, ease to solution, ease to get the product up and running in minutes versus hours, days, and weeks. So you're certainly going to find us in the Microsoft App Source. You're going to be able to add the SimplyAP extension, obviously fully certified. And from there, it's connecting to your Business Central environment. And I'll tell you, as you log in to do the connection, we have online chat available to you. So if you need support and help and what step and what do I click, we're there 100%. You can also set up a meeting with us. And we also have tutorials directly through the process, video tutorials that'll help you highlight that connectivity to Business Central.
Hmm.
Also, in the spirit of ease to solution and rapidly getting up and running, we're going to pull in your users directly from Active Directory. So you're not going to maintain multiple sets of users.
Hmm.
Absolutely not. We're pulling it in from AD. And then it's simply setting your approval thresholds.
Hmm.
How many people need to review and approve X type of invoice or an invoice at X dollar amount?
Hmm.
Um, and we truly can have somebody up and running, processing invoices in under an hour, under 1 hour. So it's an extremely easy, rapid, efficient solution process. And I got to highlight that you can try it before you buy it too. So, we have a 14-day risk-free trial. So I don't think that's too much of a time investment, right? Taking under an hour to connect to your BC environment, test transactions.
Hmm.
So we want to make sure that, people really, that buying path is very different than it used to be. And we realize that kind of test driving things in advance is very important.
Yeah, for sure. I've implemented ERP, running a small manufacturing company for a number of years, and certainly used ARP or ERP. And the it's funny, the one of the struggles we have is the people who aren't technologically inclined, and so and they don't purposely want to stonewall. That's not who they are at all. It's just they have, we all have our unique set of skills. Okay, so how does the partner get involved for people and companies that are like that?
Oh my goodness. So I mean, when we say three simple steps, it's all types. We're going to meet you exactly where you're at, where each organization, each of your customers are at.
Hmm.
So this will be for you to solution in three simple steps, Chuck, for
Hmm.
sure, for many customers. And then we may have some of your customers that you introduce Simply AP to them. They go online and they click through to the 14-day free trial and they're up and running. We're certainly going to let you know 100% that we've got a new collective mutual customer together. But
Hmm.
it's really, truly being able to meet customers exactly where their comfort level is.
That is where it's
So,
about, what it's about, isn't it? Right?
yes, we got to be flexible in
Yep.
how we work with each organization. And that's why I highlight that as you're in the tool, you can chat online, you can watch video tutorials on your own demand, you can set up a phone call with us, including your partner,
Hmm.
as well to walk through the steps together on, a Teams meeting as well.
Love it. Love it. Well, I mean, this is all great talk, right? Tiffany and Chuck, they're salespeople. They could talk all day. But in prep, you told me about a success story.
Oh,
So I'd love for you to share some information about that.
well, I'm glad we didn't clip this slide because it's a fun one. And honestly, highlighting success is the easiest way, I think, to really bridge the gap in terms of some comfort zones. And we're always here to work with our partners on referrals so people truly can see and understand how it works in other organizations. But OSIS is a IT company that supports the healthcare industry. They're a nonprofit organization. And on the slide up here, you'll see, we've got spanning 1 month to 6 months. And you'll also see there's 4 products in line here. OSIS actually used to be a customer of QuikTags. They utilize Dynamics GP and our AP solution for GP.
Hmm.
2 years ago, they implemented BC Online, and
Hmm.
our product was not yet ready.
Got it. Hmm.
So they were definitely disappointed that we weren't
Hmm.
ready to meet them there.
Hmm.
But they went out and they knew they couldn't go backwards, right? They didn't want to go backwards. They knew what AP automation was like. They loved it. They didn't want to go backwards.
Hmm.
First product they attempted to solution was a lot like I mentioned before. It's an AP solution, but it wasn't integrated to BC.
Hmm.
4 months in, the connection never occurred. They could never get the invoice to actually integrate to BC. So they walked.
Hmm.
They went to solution number two. Solution number two, unfortunately, there was kind of a mix in terms of the buying process of IT versus finance and some transition. They purchased a product that didn't have purchase order support. Yikes. That's a flub in requirements. Chuck at Turnkey would never allow that flub to occur.
No,
No.
no. Well, I mean, we don't just pull invoices out of the air and just pay them, right? I mean, they have to come from somewhere, right? We're getting some service that likely came originated with a purchase order, right? Just guessing.
It happens, but honestly, Chuck, it is surprising. There are many organizations that don't leverage purchase orders at all.
Not a
Absolutely not.
surprise.
So there's definitely products in the space
Hmm.
that support a non-PO only. We certainly do PO, non-PO both.
Hmm.
So they walked away from that solution. Third solution that they implemented, they were going down a path. It was a slow path, and they kept being challenged why it was so difficult to get it up and running and schedule project management meetings. The company got bought, and they had determined that they were not going to support the solution that they had purchased for more than another year. So they
Hmm.
decided, we're walking away.
Wow.
Um, yeah, tough. What a brutal, I mean, that's a brutal year and a half,
Sure
right?
is. Yep.
Brutal introduction to BC. Again, if you were with a seasoned partner like Turnkey, they wouldn't let you go through experiences like that. I truly believe. But then obviously we continued to have rapport with OSIS and communications, and they tapped us or we tapped them, I'm not sure which, and said, hey, our product's ready. Where are you at? They were up and running in less than a week, you guys.
Unbelievable.
Less than a week. The CEO, and that's what I'm saying, we meet people wherever they're at. The
Hmm.
CEO is actually the one that joined the install call.
Hmm.
And he was processing invoices in less than an hour in the initial call. And they kept going, I cannot believe the transactions in BC. I can't believe the transactions in BC. And wait a minute, I can see the invoice too. So ease to solution really was, a key success for OSIS. They had stumbled for a year and a half to truly bring automation back into their finance world.
Hmm.
And in less than a week, they were up and running.
Unbelievable. I really just that's just well, but again, that's what it's about. That's what we're evangelizing here, right?
So
Is
true.
how can you get to time to R? It's not just ROI.
No.
It's time to ROI, right? It's I can get return on investment after 72 years.
I hope
Okay.
nothing lasts that
But
takes that
when
long.
does but most importantly, when does the clock start ticking, right? When am I going to get we think about it in terms of total payback, right? 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, whatever the heck it is, whatever that cycle is. But it's how soon as it gets started. If we're going to be spinning our wheels for a year and a half, all right, all the ROI in the world, how much money are you going to, what could you be doing with that money? What could you be doing with that time? That
Oh,
opportunity cost,
time.
that soft cost that's often forgotten.
So true.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
That's,
and also let's go back to the governance piece. I mean, those that are being audited, I mean, that
yeah.
your exposure is extreme,
Yeah, sure.
extreme.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, finance teams get audited? Go figure. Hmm.
How did that happen?
Yeah, right. So this is all just it's an absolutely compelling story to me. I hope it's a compelling story to the audience. And we told you there was going to be a demo here at the end. Okay, so I think it's time for us to roll video. All right.
Roll. Yes, I agree.
I'm sharing with you the startup screen as if I'm logging in as a user for the very first time. So I'm just going to go quickly through the tutorial, but just know that as you're logging in for the first time, you'll be met with this same experience to welcome you and walk you through the tips of how to get started and make the best experience possible within SimplyAP. So we have this welcome screen so that you can start walking through step by step. You're presented with a list of invoices that have been already read by our AI powered OCR and validated with Business Central. Information has been pulled in on the company, the vendor, the type of invoice, non PO versus PO, as you can see here, the total, the currency, the company, and who that invoice has already been assigned to or claimed by, depending on the perspective and your experience with your invoices. So then you can easily search by any number of criteria, the vendor, the purchase order number, the invoice number, et cetera, and you're walked through that experience again with the tooltips in the product. And then as you move on to the next step, the experience will be to add an invoice, or as in often the case, invoices will be emailed into the queue here, or of course they can be scanned or uploaded using that little plus button right there. And then once you're ready to process your invoices, you simply click on the row to get the invoice information. Now, I'm going to select this invoice right here at the top of the queue, and we can see that it's already been assigned to somebody who's working the queue, and we see the value of the line item information being pulled in. It's a non-purchase order invoice. I'm not going to be able to claim this because somebody else is working this invoice in the system. Now, if this was a purchase order related invoice and everything matched, let's just take a quick look at one of those, we can see that the coded amount is $94. As the $94 total displays on the invoice, we can set SimplyAP up such that this will go straight into Business Central. And that's what I'm going to show you the end result of with an example here. It's just as easy to get started with the admin side. But when we go into Business Central, when we see an invoice that has been compared, the line item level and the header level for that invoice, if everything matches, I don't even need to see this invoice in the SimplyAP queue. It comes straight into Business Central. And then when I click on this view button right here, I'm presented with the invoice and I see simply that it's already been created in the ERP, in Business Central in this case, and I can see that each one of these line items matched. All this information is going to have been created in the invoice. It's a completely touchless process from the receipt of invoice, reading the invoice header and line item data, comparing it to what's in Business Central, comparing it to the receiving transaction to make sure that we have a true three-way match, and then we create that transaction. Now, a quick peek for those of you who would be in the admin role, the setup there is going to be just as simple, and you have these setup and starting guides to walk you through step by step, connecting to Business Central with integration, adding your identity provider and connecting to Azure AD, connecting to your Business Central companies, and adding your users. And I simply click on the little check mark to get back to my invoice queue, and I'm ready to process.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I'm just a big fan of user experience. The user interface means everything to me. That is, uh, it's simple, it's visual, it's organized, and clearly it's effective. So it's just I think it's just a great overall experience for the users, and the video says it all. That's really all you need to know so that you can really experience how simple it can be and how much time you can save. Do you have any closing thoughts for our folks?
Chuck, you hit the nail on the head, and we drag that all the way into our name, Simply AP. Super simple to solution and extremely affordable. No longer should you be thinking AP automation is not available for your organization. Definitely, just ping your turnkey rep and get that conversation started. There is an affordable, simple option for you to deploy.
I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Folks, everything you need to know is going to be here at the end of this video. If you want to get in touch with us, learn more about Simply AP, KwikTag, Turnkey Technologies, you can get it right there in the show notes. Folks, thanks so Oh, what?
And Chuck, remember, they can try it before they buy it.
Oh,
So
try it
don't
before
think
you buy it.
otherwise.
I like that. I like that. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time. You've been incredible. This has been incredible. It's been a great way to spend our evening before Thanksgiving. And you go off and enjoy yourself. I'll try and do the same. Folks, thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.